God is moving. It's Young People Nation.
Welcome to Young People Nation. Listen to us weekly as we commit to bring transparency, healing, and truth to the everyday situations in life that might bring you down. Join us for your weekly dose of inspiration. Thank you for listening to Young People Nation. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And now, here's your host, Eugene and Donna Perry.
Let's go. Christ is the foundation. Know his word gon' lead us. Know I'm already going. Taking steps I believe in. Giving guidance to the youth. Giving guidance to the lost. Giving the world to the project. Lead them back to the cross.
Good day, good morning, good afternoon, whenever the time that you're listening. But welcome to Young People Nation. And we have some awesome women today on the platform. We have Miss Shoshana Passionate Wesby. Yes. She is a high school counselor and a mental health advocate who specializes in mental health and teenage coping skills. Correct, ma'am?
Correct.
Now, this woman is very gifted in so many areas with music, poetry, and she's a writer.
Yes.
But however, her greatest endeavor is giving back to the community.
Correct.
And I love your motto. While I'm yet living, I will give my all.
That's right.
Love it.
That's
Love
right.
it. Love it. We also have Miss Vanessa Harris, who is poetically known as Most Elevated Deepness.
That is correct.
Oh, and she is a gift. I mean, that just keep on giving every time she open her mouth and she gets to talking.
Awesome.
Yes, and she is a mom. She's a songwriter. She is a retired Army veteran. Thank you for your service, ma'am.
You are absolutely
And
right.
she was awarded the Purple Heart for her service while deployed in Iraq.
Yes.
She is a spoken word poet who motivates children and adults.
Definitely.
However, her greatest gift is being a mother.
It really is.
And she states it's the most difficult but equally rewarding
It
mission
is.
that she has ever embarked upon.
Crazy but true.
Yes.
It is not for the faint of hearts,
Yes.
but it is equally rewarding.
Yes.
And that's just the strangest thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
You never thought you could love someone like that
It's true.
to those kids come.
Look. They
But
do.
then when they get to be teenagers, that's another episode.
Lord.
That's right.
Listen up, man. Listen up, man. You're not immune.
That's right, babe.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, and we're going to be talking about mental health journeys for you both. And we just thank you for your transparency and for you just being just open. Because that's how our young people are going to learn is from our openness.
That's
true.
right.
Okay, so in this session, we're going to be talking about therapy and connecting with the right therapist. Now, what was the importance of getting counseling for you?
Well, for me, I would say most of the counselors that I received were mostly pastors, spiritual leaders. For me, I do believe in being proactive rather than being reactive after situations occur. You need to get ahead of things as life takes on new transitions and new journeys, and as your age increases. One thing about my children, each grade level that they go to, we'll have a talk. I was like, okay, this is what happens in 6th grade. This is what happens in 7th grade. This is some of the transitions you'll see. And it proactively helped them to have a mindset to conquer those things when they occurred, knowing that they were about to happen. So I do believe in having those spiritual leaders, counselors that'll help you be proactive rather than reactive. So many people get counselors after things happen. And by that time, things can been going shot to, you know what I'm trying to say, just bad. But we want to be proactive. That's what getting the counseling for me was about. Yeah.
Okay.
For me, of course, I was in the military and I was injured. I had a head injury, so that kind of opened my eyes to counseling and therapy and that whole that whole world. I had to get routine counseling and therapy because of the nature of my head injury. But it's funny. One of the things that I discovered was that I needed counseling just basically for recovery from just my development on just growing up in the household I grew up in, and not saying anything crazy about my parents or my way of life, my for lack of a better word, religion or anything like that. But I was very much, closeted and blanketed, and we were in a very close knit type family, which in some aspects is amazing. But in that aspect, you can also be too guarded and not really understand what's happening in the real world.
Yeah, green, right?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what I saw was basically Skittles and rainbows growing up.
Right.
Two parents, married, loving each other, respecting each other. No, I never saw them argue. I never, all those things. We went on little nature walks. We went on trips together. We, saw my dad take care of my mom, and my mom be the, the spiritual, warrior she was, praying over everybody. This was beautiful, But then experiencing life for myself kicked me in the behind, because I was like, wait a minute, like, what's an argument? I'm getting a relationship with somebody, and I'm like, what is this? So I remember the first argument I got in with a boyfriend that I had, and I was full grown, basically. I was like 18, 19, and I did not know what to do. I literally ran. I looked at him and was like, pew! I ran. I didn't know how to handle.
Right.
So growing up in the environment that I did, to some would say, oh, that's just excellent. And to me, I'm grateful for it, but it did not give me a full scope of life. So
That's good.
I had to get therapy and counseling to deal with and understand how to properly adult, how to properly live and function mentally, understanding the world around me and not just the world in my house that I grew up in.
Okay. Okay. So I hear spiritual and natural counseling as well. It just depends on what your need is,
Yeah.
correct?
Correct.
A
Okay.
question for you. Did it make a difference with male or female in counseling?
No, it didn't. It just for me it just really not to be spooky, it just mattered the spirit, the connection, how well I felt as if I was being received, and not that I go in counseling or go to therapy hoping that they're just gonna tell me everything I want to hear. But there's a connection, just like how you make friends. Some stuff happens organically, and you want that relationship with that counselor and therapist to be
Absolutely.
organic.
Yes.
And if you feel that it's forced, or then you know that, hey,
Oh,
this person is
come
not a
on.
bad person.
Yeah.
They're just not the right one for me.
Yes,
So,
yes. That's my motto right there. If it's forced,
Yeah.
it's not for me.
What I've seen in most of cases when you're dealing with spiritual counseling with a pastor and all, most male pastors are pro-male, and most female pastors are pro-women, and therefore you don't get the neutrality in that counseling when you go through the church.
Well, for me, I needed a male counselor, a male spiritual leader. And the reason being is because I didn't have that steady male example in the home.
Okay.
I needed to know how to have healthy relationships with males.
Okay.
So for me, I needed counseling on relationships, counseling how to deal with family and things like that, because growing up there was a lot of abuse in the home, a lot of abuse around me, my uncles, my own father, like it was just a lot of abuse. So I needed to see a healthy example of a man
Okay.
that would look out for me or teach me what a man's supposed to do in the home, or what how a male's supposed to take care of family, because I never saw that.
Okay.
So for me, I needed that. I
Yes.
needed a male example. I haven't had the most outside of my mom, and I haven't had the healthy relationship with women that are older than me. I don't know why.
Okay.
I don't know why. I guess I was trying to replace that mother figure, but nobody can replace that. So I haven't had that. But I'm learning to just judge the spirit by the spirit. It is what it is. Like Vanessa said, as long as it's not forced, it's okay. And the older I'm getting, I'm learning to connect with both genders, and that's okay with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's one size don't fit all type of situation.
Yeah.
You got to figure out what works for you.
That's
Right.
it, yeah.
So how did you all go about connecting with your counselor or finding who your counselor was? You just
Mine
were
was
they
just
recommended?
mine was just my pastors.
Okay.
Whoever leadership I fell underneath. Now I did try one time to go through, I think it's ZocDoc or something like that, and got and I got I think he was like an older Indian guy was my counselor.
Sure.
It didn't work out. I guess it was more like surface.
Right.
Because I know when I'm counseling the kids, I tap into spiritual things a lot. But sometimes when you're dealing with somebody that's got a lot of degrees and things like that, they stay on the surface level and don't dig down to where it taps into your soul.
Yes.
And you can kind of connect. So yeah, I don't have the Indian counselor anymore. So yeah.
Didn't connect.
No,
That's
didn't
okay.
connect.
Well, it sounds like since both of y'all deal with music, you know when a good tone comes.
Yes.
Harmonize.
Yes.
That
Yeah,
one.
there it is.
And a whole lot of times when they're not speaking against the Indian doctor or anything like that, when they try to communicate, they don't see eye to eye and it don't flow.
It doesn't.
It's almost like a cat in the bag syndrome.
Wow. Guy, look, flesh and blood didn't reveal that to him, right?
No.
Come on, spirit.
So, let's talk about y'all process and the importance of that, because just like everybody's journey is different. I believe in perspectives. We believe in perspectives, and my perspective is not your perspective, and we have to respect one another's perspective. So let's talk about, like for you, Vanessa, with the head injury. I remember when you came back, and we just know it was just absolutely God who did this for you, that the way you flow in your poetry, there's no way you would have known that you had a memory problem.
Amen.
Definitely
Yeah.
so.
And so
Yeah.
let's talk about the process a little bit of how, that journey for you and you, Passionate. I thank you for being transparent with my husband and myself about your journey, even in church. And sometimes how the conversations didn't go so well, but your heart was pure. And I remember our conversation. You didn't walk away mad, or you didn't drop God or none of that. But you said, "Hey, this just ain't for me, so I'm moving on."
Correct.
So let's unpack that with you guys.
Okay. I guess as far as the head injury and me tapping into my gift and my poetry and all of that. Okay. Well, I mean, it's a big part of my testimony. I started writing late in high school. I was very much I guess a loner to a certain extent. I journaled a lot. My journal was my best friend. And so, if I was happy, I run in my journal. If I was mad, I run in my journal. And from there, it kind of birthed, just me writing, and poetry formed. I think it started with an assignment that a teacher gave, and I just started writing, and just turned into something amazing. I later on started to I went to college, and they have little poetry spots and things, and people are like, well, you should, take your writings and go here and do this. And when I did, I really discovered that, my voice isn't just for me. I'm so stuck in these journals. People need to hear this. This is good stuff. It's entertaining people. My testimonies are redeeming people. So I see that it's not just for me. So I tapped into my gift then. But truly understanding, I guess, the magnitude of it was when I was in Iraq, and I did suffer that head injury. There was a mortar attack, and if you're familiar with a mortar round, it's just a huge propelled missile, in Iraq, the enemy they was just shooting stuff. They didn't have the skill to understand where it was going. They just was shooting stuff and hoping it was hitting something. And I guess good for them. It hit something that day. It hit about 10 to 15 feet from where I was sitting, and a piece of shrapnel went from that mortar round. When that mortar round has all kinds of things. They put nails and pieces of glass and just all kinds of shards of metal and stuff inside of those mortar rounds. And when it exploded, a piece of shrapnel hit me and hit me like right here. And it's funny, I can't even feel that spot. I'm touching it. I feel the pressure, but I don't feel that. But it hit me, and it lodged in my skull. It was literally lodged in my skull. It cracked my skull, and from that moment on, I was shipped from the Green Zone in Baghdad to Germany, Landstuhl, to Walter Reed Army Medical Hospital, all those different places that I was medevac to. I went through a lot of changes and a lot of issues, a lot of things I could not remember. I could not remember like my mom's maiden name. I couldn't remember how to type anymore. Just very intricate things that I could not remember. But every poem that I had written up to that point, I remembered each and every one, word for word. And to me, at that time, that was exactly what I needed. And I get a little emotional every time I tell that story. That's exactly what I needed, because in a situation where you've been in an explosion in a place that's so far away from home, so far away from people that you know, feeling like God's hand is on you, feeling as if what I've given you, nobody can take away.
Yes.
Feeling as if you still can hold on to something.
Yes.
That was what I needed. God knew exactly what I needed.
Yes.
He really showed himself to be a provider in that moment. In that moment, just being that way maker, that promise keeper, that the light in the darkness. Songs mean more now because of that. Life means more now because of that. Because I feel as if I know my calling. I know what it is I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes, that's
because
powerful.
like I said, those words he gave me, no one can take away. And it let me know that this right here, what I do, my voice, my poetry, it's for the world.
Yes.
And that God didn't allow the enemy to take that away because there's a greater purpose for it.
Yes.
So yeah.
Truly a walking miracle. Truly
Yes.
a walking miracle.
Yes.
I can't even
Yes.
read my own handwriting.
No, don't apologize, because it's real.
I can't help but get emotional when I tell that, because
yes.
it's just.
Because
Yeah.
when you experience
It's
God
testimony of my
at
life.
levels, you like, wow.
Yeah.
It's like you never forget that.
Yeah, I don't
And-
speak on it much, but
And
yeah.
and then you recognize you got spiritual and natural help.
Come on.
So the two work together.
And it did.
And this is what we have today.
Come on.
Wow.
Bible told therapy going. Come on.
Yeah.
All at the same time.
Yes.
But what's unique about Vanessa? You can't even tell that she's had a head injury at all. I guess by being a friend, sometimes we could be in conversation and she'll just like look and go off into space, and I can tell she's kind of like really, really in depth in thinking. She processes a little different, but to be honest, you can't tell it.
Not at all.
Not
Right.
the average person.
Not at all.
Especially when you're not around her, you can't tell it at all.
And sometimes it's a curse and a blessing and a curse,
Yeah.
because people don't understand how much I work overtime in my mind
To process.
Right.
to look and to appear
Yes.
a certain way. And because of that, when I do, make you have a boo boo or a mistake,
A moment,
whatever, or a moment, I look neglectful, or I look a certain way, and it's just like, if you only knew
What it takes.
the steps
Right.
Yes.
that I'm going through that you can't see
I'm with you.
right now, and
Right.
so
Yes.
sometimes it feels like
Right.
you don't want to sit there and tell people your life story
Yeah.
every
Right.
time. It's just like you just sometimes I had to, and that's a big. I know it's lots of questions on these on this list,
Let's
and I
flow.
guess we'll get
Go
into
with
that.
it. No, no.
But that's one thing that helped in my healing. Is so much. I always looked at other people, even in like growing up, and like I told you, in the household, my parents, I had such a great regard for them. They were my first gods. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They taught me about God, but they were my first gods. They provided for me. They told me how I should live. They gave me the word. All
Yes.
those things. So I was really, really hung up on their opinions.
Yes.
What they think, even to a certain extent, more so what they thought than what God actually thought.
Been there.
And so even in my head injury and going through the changes that I've gone through, I've had to stop and say, you know what? They don't have to know the story. They don't have to understand it.
Yes.
And that's been a part of my healing. It's just saying, this is me, this is God, this is my experience, and I can't dwell so much on what they think. You know, even
Yes.
my parents, even as a parent, I had to realize that I pray a prayer for my child. And this is what the prayer that I'm praying. I say, Lord, let it be, God. And the thing is, God will honor my prayer.
Yeah.
But the process that I see my son taking is not the same process that God has for him to go through and actually go through a journey.
Yes.
So I can't get so hung up on the journey of my son and the choices that he's going to make. And you know what I'm saying, to know that he's going to get to where God wants him to be.
Listen, parents.
So
Yes.
I have to realize that even with my own parents,
Yes.
I have to look to the hills from which cometh my help.
Yes.
I can't look to my parents and be like, well, I hope, they don't get mad about this choice. I hope they, understand this, and the third. It's just like, look, I have a relationship with the Father,
Yes.
and He is my judge.
Yes.
Yes. It's like I have to look at them and say, hey, listen, you be my parent,
Yes.
and let God be God.
Yes.
You love me, because that's one of God's major and grandest commandments is to love. With love and kindness will I draw all men.
Yes.
So it's just like I can't get so caught up in what everybody else is thinking. I have to stop and say, you know what? I've got to make sure I'm good. And I've got
Yes.
to make sure that I stay connected with the Father and
Yes.
not so connected with the earthly father, my earthly parents. It's my Father.
Yes.
That's who I need to please.
And-
And that's who I need to be concerned about more so than all the people around me and whether they understand if I had a
Absolutely.
hiccup today.
And then we have daughters, a daughter your age,
Yes.
and so it's like you have to parent you all. You all are adults.
Yes.
We have to respect your boundaries. You understand?
Yes.
And we had to learn that.
Yeah, right?
You understand? We had to learn that. If whatever decision both our daughters make, they're grown.
Yes.
On their own, they do their thing.
Right.
However, I know my position. I know how to pray,
That's it.
and I stay right there. You
I just
understand?
gotta say it. I just gotta say it.
What you got to say?
God will do it. God will do it, and no matter what you're going through, God can do it for you.
Absolutely.
So I don't have no excuse because God can do it. I just had to have the faith and believe.
That's right.
But
And that's
what-
simple and plain.
But what you learned, I'm learning. So
Right.
I'm in the middle.
Right, and that's why we
Yes.
tell because we were like your parents.
Yeah.
You raise your children a certain way, but our youngest daughter came to us at 17 and told us she need help,
Yeah.
and we was like, "Girl, we're gonna pray for you, and this we're gonna cast this out." But she had enough wisdom to know, wait a minute, I'm on my dad's insurance. I can go out here to Eisenhower, make me an appointment. Because she
Wow.
did. And
Yes.
because she needed some mental therapy.
That is all right.
You understand? And that was an eye opener for us.
That's amazing.
That, wait a minute, God has different ways.
Yeah, going through that process like that.
Yes.
It was more than just
Yes.
prayer. She needed a physical person to talk to other than her parents.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Other than the pastor or
Yes.
the co-pastor.
Yes.
true.
Who our pastors just love them.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? However, she said, I need help.
Yeah.
And-
And because she has a close relationship with them,
Mm-hmm.
she needs somebody from the outside to see it
Right.
Yes.
because they were too close.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and that's how she rolled too. She prefer a therapist that don't know any of us.
Not biased. No, they're right.
Nope. And so
There's no dishonor in it.
it certainly is not. And so however God chooses to do this thing, it could be through a natural or spiritual. I mean, because he got different ways, but we can't lock him in a box.
That's it, though. At all. Can't.
Okay, Miss Passion, talk to us.
I'm so caught up in what y'all The reason why I'm listening so intently in what y'all are saying, because my daughter is 20. She's about to be 21.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to be 21 on the 17th. So
What?
I'm like, yes. Got a 17-year-old and an 11-year-old.
Wow.
No, 20-year-old and 11-year-old. Well, I get 17.
It's going fast.
It's going too fast. But it's crazy because like last night I get her notifications to my phone and it's like 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, where you going? what you doing? 2:00 in the morning. You ain't she in Atlanta, but I'm like, where you going? And she was like, Mama, oh, she gonna kill me if I tell it. I'm gonna tell it anyway. She's like, Mama, I was at a friend's house when I took some pictures and she ain't able to bring me home. And I said, pictures? Who took these pictures? And she was like, I don't know his name. What?
His.
So you taking pictures for somebody you don't know who it is? And she was like, don't get mad. And I was like, you just have to be more. She sent me the pictures. They ain't that bad pictures, but at the same rate, I was like, you got to be cautious in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Why is somebody doing a pop up taking pictures
At that time of the night,
Yeah, and so it's that kind of stuff that I'm going through with her. She's green, but I don't want her to be green in Atlanta. So I'm like, okay, we gonna have to get you
When you
somebody
say
to talk
green,
to.
what does that mean?
Naive.
Okay. Okay.
Being naive in Atlanta.
All that would put me in third bell bad self.
So you saying you're gonna have to get someone for her to talk to in what perspective?
Just I've told her a lot of times, send her websites, I've sent her videos and things like that. Like I need I think when I said, even though I am a therapist by trade myself, it comes off that I'm yelling, I'm mad, and because in my head you should know better a little bit.
Yeah. That's
I
the
taught you
parents'
better a little
syndrome,
bit.
Yeah.
So it's the conflict of interest when it comes from me.
Yeah.
She's like, don't be mad, and I'm like, I'm not mad. You just gotta make better choices. You know what I'm saying? Because the world don't
Care who's
give
around
you those second chances like that. They don't care if you naive like that. Because I've done a lot of stuff. Like, thank God pulled me through them.
Yes.
But I made a lot of crazy bad choices when I was in Atlanta, just for a summer. And I could have been dead. I survived it. And after that summer was over, I was like, no, I'll move to Augusta. It's not for me. And it was in 2020, and I shot up here to Augusta. But I know, but times are changing. Things are different. Sex trafficking is real, and those things of that nature. So I need her to be more cautious. But my thing is being, like I mentioned earlier, proactive with using wisdom, trusting your intuition, making better choices. Those are my things, and I do really feel like she needs to hear it from someone else rather than me.
Sure.
So
because it comes off wrong.
So you're seeking. Is she interested in therapy?
Yeah, she is.
Okay, so that poses the next question. So, in the community, because you all deal with young people a lot, what is some of the things that you see that the young people have dealt with that's similar to your issues?
It's ironic to me that I went through a lot of crazy stuff growing up, like molestation, sexual abuse, watching domestic abuse in the home, just a lot of crazy. My mom passing early, just those kind of things I went through. And I took a journey. I couldn't find myself. I got into artistry. Everybody was like, stop trying to live this dream, until the dream started popping off.
Come on.
And I started, I did the BET Music Matters tour. I opened up for several big name artists. So my life, when it started taking off, then it's like, oh, it's not a dream. But then I got pregnant, so all that went by the wayside. I lost my management. I had a bunch of wins and a lot of losses.
Okay.
And I had started getting really bitter about the things that I had faced. I got bitter about how I love so strong, but people did me so wrong and ran over me. So I had started becoming very bitter about my life. Until one day I decided, me and Vanessa, we started teaching poetry to some young kids at Hornsby Middle School. Because I was like, one of the things is, if you don't know what to do, learn how to serve others. So we started teaching the youth poetry. And then that year I said, okay, well, let me just try to shoot for an education job. Because one thing I did not want to do was be a school counselor. I didn't want to be a school counselor at all. Because I thought that I couldn't talk about God in a school setting, in an education setting. So the reason, that's why I wanted to be a community counselor, but the jobs weren't coming. So I ended up doing an interview at the school. Didn't have the credentials, but did an interview, and the principal from Hornsby Middle School was there. So I had already built like a rapport with her. So I ended up getting a job with provisional and get the certification. And what I learned on the job was, as I counseled each student that came in my office, they had a little piece of me in them.
Wow.
And I was like, that's what it was all for. I had no clue that's why I went through the journey that I went through. And that's how I end up connecting with the kids that I connect with. And I was like, okay, I'm in the God ordained position where he wanted me to be in the school. Yeah. And they relate. Like when they're talking, I relate so well to them. And they don't even have to say anything in my office. And I pick them up just like that. And I be like, well, you know, this. And they sit there, well, how you know that? It's because it's I connect with them so well. And now I understood the journey, and I took that bitterness cap off. And I was like, God,
Awesome.
I thank you for it. I thank you for everything I've been through.
Wow.
It's hard, but I thank you.
Now that's
Yeah.
powerful there.
That is.
That's powerful, because who wants to, the violations, that these things are traumas.
It's traumas.
And if you don't deal with those, they just stack on top of each other. And so then you'll be somewhere and the person say, I just want some water. Then you just blow up, traumas, but it comes from that undealt with traumas. But
Unresolved.
you took that and you were able to say, okay.
But you open up another door there.
Okay.
Because we as parents have a tendency to have a stable background for our kids, even though we didn't come from a stable background. And therefore, we have made our kids green and acceptable to the outside.
I blame myself for that.
Our hands are raised. Yep.
Yeah.
I blame myself for that. She was overprotected.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she going to wind up needing counseling, and we cannot be in denial because they came from a pretty stable background that they're immune to what happened in the world.
That's good right there.
Yeah.
And we experienced that, and so therefore, this is why Young People Nation is in the know.
Yes.
Because this is part of our mental health journey.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because with them, they can't handle that pressure
Pressure like we did.
like that. And suicide come into their life much more sooner and more dramatic than anything. How can you never been out there on the street? You never experienced being slapped around or shot at, but you go out around because you ain't got no friends, because your friends turn against you, and all of a sudden you only kill yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can identify with that because you didn't come from that environment.
Yes, that's good. That is so good. Wow, this has been just, what kind of meat is this? Bison?
I like bison. Hold
Yeah,
up.
this has been good. Good meat.
Yeah.
Good meat. And so we have more sessions to come.
Yes.
So we'd like to give out our hotlines for mental health, because you never know who's listening. We have the 988 hotline. We have the text home to 741-741. That's free 24/7. Crisis counseling. And if you don't know really what you need counseling for, you can dial the 211 number. Okay? So this is our first session. And Mr. Perry.
In life, you had to question yourself. Am I just living or I'm just existing? This has been Young People Nation, and remember, there is always hope.
Let's go. Christ is the foundation. Know his word gon' lead us. Know I'm already going. Taking steps I believe in. Giving guidance to the youth. Giving guidance to the lost. Give the world to the project. Lead them back to the cross. He the #1 prospect. He the top boss. I was broke, I was empty. He the one that paid the cost. Really thought that I was cool. There was nothing like the Savior. Now it's time for the truth. The whole world been waiting. It's Young People Nation. 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 The whole world been waiting. Whatever you going through, I know what he gonna do. Don't matter the circumstance, we going back to the root. Keep going. Let that seed keep growing. You need peace and we know it. Now it's time to live holy. Young People Nation. You know what time it is. Young People Nation. Get ready, the time is here. Get ready, we vibing here. We about to let God in here. Young People Nation, it's Young People Nation. Yeah, do it for the heavens, you know where we going. Influenced by His love, you know we gotta show it. It's time to put the youth onto what God is doing. Cause I can tell you now, right now, that God is moving. It's Young People Nation.